The World 2020 Champions India.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Cricketnext live session. I'm Surama Kaushik, your host for the day. And 2022 T20 World Cup is going on with a bang. Well, we have landed from Super 12 stage to the semi-finals, and now we have four semi-finalists with us. And to give you a brief about the semi-final stage, we have these 14. So the first semi-final will be played between New Zealand and Pakistan on 9th November at Sydney Cricket Ground. That's SCG. And the second semi-final will be played between India and England on 10th of November at the Adelaide Oval. Well, it's semi-final, so I know that the excitement, tensions, and everything is just a level higher. But all these four teams have been through an incredible journey in the Super 12 stage. Talking about England and New Zealand, they were in Group A, and India and Pakistan were in Group B. And these four teams have showcased that why they deserve to be here in semi-finals. But their journeys have been so incredible that it becomes really important to talk about how they have played. And to talk about that in detail, I have with me Chetan Narula. Hello, Chetan. So, what an incredible journey these four teams have traveled through from Super 12 to semi-finals.
Hello, Suramya, and hello to all the viewers of Cricket Next. Of course, it's been a terrific World Cup. I mean, it's not just their journey, the four teams' journey. It's also our journey in terms of covering, the games from one venue to another, from one team to another. And what a fantastic journey it's been. We've seen so many upsets, probably one of the greatest upsets of all time, with Netherlands beating South Africa and South Africa, crashing out of the World Cup. Pakistan, done a favor. India picking up steam. England just about making it, struggling against Sri Lanka, but still making it. And New Zealand calm and collected. So it's been obviously the hosts, Australia. I mean, there's लोग ज्यादा देखने आए नहीं ऑस्ट्रेलिया को, लेकिन गुस्सा सब गुस्सा है कि ये लोग पहुंचे नहीं सेमीफाइनल. सो मतलब ये पैशन दिखाना था तो यार मैच में आके सपोर्ट कर लेते ना टीम को, फिर पैशन दिखाते आप. अब गुस्सा करने से क्या फायदा है. बट एनीवे, इट्स बीन अ स्टेलर टूर्नामेंट. इट्स बीन वन ऑफ द बेस्ट T20 World Cups. And and 3 games remaining. I think they are going to be absolute crackers as well. So yeah, let's get started, and let's talk about these 4 teams. And absolute मतलब semi-finals तो मतलब जबरदस्त lineup है, and obviously the 2 teams that reach the final, it will be an absolute classic as well.
So now, Chetan, now we have 14. So India lost one match to South Africa in the Super 12 stage, and Pakistan had really a miraculous ride reaching here in the semi-finals. But when we talk about England, England were neck to neck with Australia, but then they showcased that why they deserve to be here. And as you mentioned, New Zealand has always showcased their calm, composure, and a better mature side this time. But when we talk about 2021 to 2022, this journey has been really incredible. But there's only been one change. Now we have India in place of Australia. Rest of the lineup is pretty much similar. So it becomes really important to start with India on that note, because this time their journey was really incredible, and it was actually unmatchable from what happened in the previous year. So let's first begin with India. So how will you sum up India's journey so far?
Well, it's a very interesting point you made that Australia की जगह पे India आ गया है. And these are top 5 or maybe top 6 nations. अगर South Africa को include करें तो top 5-6 nations in T20 World Cup. India definitely is up there, but last year's performance was really not up to scratch. They've changed the blueprint. They've tried to do things differently, and that has come across. अगर हम बस यही देखें कि they have qualified for the semi-final, then obviously it's a better performance, or a performance upgrade from last year. But is it enough for Team India? No. Team India के लिए basic requirement ये है कि आप किसी भी World Cup में semi-final तो पहुंचो. On the day of the semi-final, it becomes a bit of a lottery. It can be anybody's day, especially in the T20 format. One player can change the game. Even in ODIs and Test cricket, we've seen one player changing the game. But in T20 cricket, the chance of that happening is a lot more. So the basic requirement for any Team India in any World Cup is to reach the semi-final, and this team has done it. It looks like a better performance than last year, an upgrade, because they did not do it last year. So Overall, अगर हम group की बात करें, the Pakistan gave them momentum. It was a miraculous knock from Virat Kohli, a magical knock, a game for the ages. उस match में हम हार रहे थे.
True.
First 30 overs, we were not in the game. The last 10 overs, we came back in the game. The game against South Africa, yes, we were beaten, but I think they really fought well, and that showed, that the team is ready to fight in these conditions. It was like a plus minus 10 sort of a situation. Zimbabwe ki agar baat kare, very professional, very calm. They needed that win. Netherlands again very calm, very professional. Bangladesh, that could have been a very slippery game, and that game almost cost us. But ठीक है, इंद्र देवता ने बचा लिया, थोड़ी सी बारिश हो गई, the match turned, and overall, like I said, it was not a performance which would say कि Team India is now the favorite. Team
Okay.
India did not come as the favorite in this World Cup. They are not favorites. अभी भी मैं यही कहूंगा, they are out of these four sides, they are not favorites. I think they are number 3 behind England and New Zealand, or New Zealand and England, जैसे भी आप top 2 का order देना चाहें, but I really don't think they are the favorites even at this stage. But yes, a better performance, a semi-final performance, and now it's a lottery. Anything can happen.
Yeah, and Chetan, as you mentioned, T20 is such a format that a player can change the match. And for me, it has been Surya Kumar Yadav's tournament because he has been phenomenal. And in all the live sessions before, in the post-match live sessions, when you have come up with us, we have always talked about him. So for me, he is the X factor. Do you second that thought?
Oh, absolutely. It's not about second. I think it's everybody's thought. It is सिर्फ तुम्हारी हमारी इंडियन फैंस की थॉट्स नहीं है ये. मैं अभी ट्विटर चेक कर रहा था, इंग्लिश मीडिया की भी यही थॉट्स हैं. ही इज द एक्स फैक्टर एंड ही शुड बी बिकॉज आप ये एक जो कॉलम है ये देखिए, स्ट्राइक रेट ऑफ 193. ही इज बैटेड विद दैट स्ट्राइक रेट थ्रू आउट 2022. हम परफॉर्मेंस की बात कर रहे हैं, परफॉर्मेंस को जज कर रहे हैं, लास्ट ईयर से इंप्रूवमेंट बता रहे हैं. ही इज द इंप्रूवमेंट, ही इज द रूट कॉज ऑफ द इंप्रूवमेंट. लास्ट ईयर हम गए थे वहां पे, हम लोग गए थे किसके भरोसे? विराट कोहली, रोहित शर्मा, केएल राहुल, इनके भरोसे गए थे. नहीं, इस साल हम इस प्लेयर के भरोसे गए हैं वर्ल्ड कप जीतने के लिए. ही इज बीन परफॉर्मिंग 225 रन्स इन 5 मैचेस. एवरेज छोड़ दो क्योंकि T20 क्रिकेट में एवरेज डजंट मैटर, बट स्ट्राइक रेट 193. बांग्लादेश मैच में भी he did not play too many balls, did not score too many runs, but he faced 10-12 balls, scored 25 28 runs, but he was scoring at 200 ka strike rate. Perth game, South Africa game, probably that was the only game where he did not score at 200 because of the conditions. But he was batting on a completely different pitch than other Indian batsmen. Lungi Ngidi सारे batsmen को bounce out कर दिया, but उसके bouncer पे ये छक्का मार रहा है. So this guy is Mr. 360. He's the X factor. He's calm. He's cool. He knows that he has a job to do, and I think England are scared of Surya Kumar Yadav. If they are scared of one player, they are scared of Surya Kumar Yadav. England will be thinking the way he bats. आप कोई bowling plan नहीं बना सकते, आप कोई fielding plan नहीं बना सकते इस player के लिए. और जब आप ऐसे player के साथ खेल रहे होते हैं, you need to be very wary of that player. You need to be very scared of that player. And I genuinely believe England would be scared of the Surya Kumar Yadav challenge, and especially because Adelaide Oval is a small ground, square boundaries. If he gets going, if he faces 20 balls, हम कहते हैं कि इसको 20 balls दे दो, ये 40 रन बना देगा. लेकिन उस मैच में अगर इसने 20 बॉल खेल दी तो भारत वो मैच जीत जाएगा.
Well, we all are waiting for that match, and it's going to be a really cracker show that day at Adelaide Oval. But Chetan, when we were, previewing all the teams before this T20 World Cup, we had a discussion that from Group A, England are the strongest ones, and now we have seen their journey as well in the Super 12s. Let's have a look at them. Now, their match against Australia was abundant, but they were defeated by Ireland as well. Now, how do you see this spell of matches of England?
Well, Afghanistan was a very normal win. ऑस्ट्रेलिया वाला मैच जो रेन आउट हो गया, उसकी बजाय उन्होंने न्यूजीलैंड को हरा दिया. दैट वाज अ गेम दे नीडेड टू विन. श्रीलंका game again needed to win. So let's talk about these two games first, and then I'll come to Ireland, because Ireland game showed their weakness. New Zealand game, it was a game against a top ranked team, a team which would be a top 4 contender and is a top 4 contender. तो उस गेम को जीतकर इंग्लैंड ने दिखाया दे आर चैंपियनशिप विनिंग साइड. श्रीलंका वाला जो गेम था उसमें उन्होंने दिखाया कि व्हाई इट इज टफ टू बीट देम. इट इज टफ टू बीट देम बिकॉज उस पिच पर, सिडनी की पिच पे, वेरी स्लो पिच, टेकिंग टर्न, श्रीलंका थ्रू everything at them, and even then England found a way to win. And I think their batting plan was very simple. Power play में आप अच्छे से फील्ड प्लेसमेंट का फायदा उठा लो. जॉस बटलर, एलेक्स हेल्स, दे आर द स्ट्रेंथ ऑफ दिस इंग्लिश बैटिंग साइड. नाउ लेट्स कम टू द वीकनेसेस, और वो आयरलैंड के मैच में दिखाया. देखिए, सबसे पहले मैं ये बता दूं कि अगर आयरलैंड का मैच पूरा मैच होता तो इंग्लैंड वो शायद वो मैच जीत जाता.
राइट.
लेकिन ठीक है, हम इस चीज को नहीं कह सकते बिकॉज दिस होल टूर्नामेंट हैज बीन अफेक्टेड बाय वेदर. सो व्हाट हैपेंड इन दैट आयरलैंड गेम, दे वर शॉक्ड इन द फर्स्ट 10 overs with the way Ireland attacked them. पहले 10 ओवर में 90 रन आ गए थे. 9 की एवरेज से आयरलैंड वाज स्कोरिंग. So that tells you their bowling is weak in the first 10 overs and you can hit them, and then they will also not have a plan B. And then what happened? They dismissed Butler and Hales for cheap. And their middle order did not score many runs. And that's the thing. आप statistics निकाल के देखिए, Butler और Hales ने 150, 140, 150 रन बनाए हैं इस टूर्नामेंट में, और कोई भी बैट्समैन नहीं है जिसने 50-60 रन से ज्यादा बनाए हो. And that is another weakness for England. You get their top 2 players out and your middle order opens up. और अब तो दाविद मलान भी नहीं खेल रहे हैं. ठीक है, वो थोड़ा अप डाउन चल रहा था उनका, लेकिन again he has been previously ranked number 1 in T20 cricket. So it's not like England don't have weaknesses. They do. और वो weakness क्या है? उनका middle order. आप उसको exploit कीजिए और first 10 overs में total attack कीजिए. And again I'm saying, वहां पे इंडिया और इंग्लैंड की अगर हम बात करें तो इंडिया का जो टॉप ऑर्डर है that has been very slow. So they really have to go all out against England.
Yeah, absolutely. And Chetan, you rightly mentioned, about their middle order, but also they have quite a few X factors as well. And we have discussed it in our previous live sessions. But this time, when we had to pick up only one X factor, I think we all had a very unanimous decision of picking this person over there. But
Yes.
do you think that he's the one?
See, for me, I am a huge fan of Joss Butler. तो जॉस बटलर के आगे मेरे को दिखाई नहीं देता है कुछ. मैंने उनको नेट्स में भी क्लोजली देखा और मैचेस में भी देखा. सो आई थिंक जॉस बटलर इज द एक्स फैक्टर. बट इन दिस टूर्नामेंट, लेट्स टॉक अबाउट इन फॉर्म प्लेयर. उस हिसाब से सैम करन हैज बीन देयर एक्स फैक्टर. एंड अनदर पॉइंट हियर, समटाइम्स इंग्लैंड स्ट्रगल विद देयर न्यू बॉल अटैक. मतलब मार्क वुड के साथ कौन बॉलिंग करेंगे? क्रिस वोक्स हैं, लेकिन उन्होंने, क्योंकि इतने बॉलर फ्रेंडली कंडीशंस हुए हैं, क्रिस वोक्स हैज नॉट बीन एबल टू टेक टू मेनी विकेट्स. Who's taken wickets? Sam Curran has taken wickets. So will they open the bowling with Sam Curran? That it remains to be seen. I'll tell you why. Because top order, Indian top order's weakness against left arm pace. And that could be a factor. And if it is a factor, it could be a huge factor. So I was watching Sam Curran in the nets. वो क्या करते हैं? ऑफ स्टंप के ऊपर टारगेट होता है ना, टारगेट का एक बॉक्स लगा के ही बोल्स. एक टारगेट का बॉक्स लगा देते हैं, टारगेट होता है ना, एंड ऑफ स्टंप पे रख के एंड ही बोल्स. और कम से कम 10 में से उन्होंने 8 बार उस बॉक्स को हिट किया होगा ऑफ स्टंप के ऊपर. एंड इट इज अमेजिंग. आई हैव नेवर सीन दैट बिफोर एंड इट इज अमेजिंग. ही इज देयर एक्स फैक्टर विद द बॉल इन हैंड. And that's the thing. I think ये एक बहुत बड़ा फैक्टर रहेगा इस मैच में. And why I think कि England is the favorite and not India, because England has many X factor players. India does not. India has one, Surya Kumar Yadav. Virat Kohli हैं, वो great हैं, and he's just coming back to form and everything. But Virat Kohli और Surya Kumar Yadav में difference है. Virat Kohli, Joss Butler, Alex Hales में difference है, और वो difference है strike rate का, the way they bat. So England has more X factor players: Butler, Hales, Ben Stokes, and Sam Curran. I think these are 4, and Mark Wood. जिस पेस पे वो बॉल कराते हैं, वो पेस इंडियन बॉलर्स के पास नहीं है. उनकी एवरेज बॉलिंग 140 पे आती है, हमारे बॉलर्स की एवरेज 135 पे आती है. सो देयर इज अ 5 का डिफरेंस, एंड यू कैन बाउंस आउट. आप उसको यूज भी कर सकते हो छक्के मारने के लिए. लेकिन आप बाउंस आउट भी कर सकते हो, और लुंगी एंगीडी ने वो हमें दिखाया है कि देयर इज अ प्रॉब्लम देयर विद द इंडियन बैट्समैन. सो why England ahead of India for me is because of the X factor.
Yeah, but is England ahead of India as a whole, or are you giving them an upper hand for the semi-final match as well?
No, look, just because of the X factor, I'm giving them an upper hand. But on the day, anything can happen. Anything can happen. And that is why I think it is going to be a very intense match. England go into this match as favorites, as per me. But I have this gut feeling that India can and will beat England.
Well, we all think that, your words should come true on that day, that India should beat England and we should see India in the finals. So that's one interesting semi-final game that we all are waiting for. But before that game, there'll be another
Okay.
cracker semi-final game at SCG, and that will be New Zealand versus Pakistan. And as I mentioned, Chetan, New Zealand, as always, mature, calm side. Pakistan had a very miraculous tournament this time. I mean, it's a fairy tale come through for them this time. Now, first, let's begin with New Zealand because they have shown that, what strengths they have. So let's see how New Zealand's journey has been so far. Now we see their matches. What do you have to talk about them?
Look, I was looking at the build up. हमने build up के बारे में बहुत बात किया है न्यूजीलैंड के, and I think उन्होंने वेस्ट इंडीज के साथ खेला, आयरलैंड के साथ खेला, नेदरलैंड्स के साथ खेला. They haven't played too many, top ranked teams. The only top ranked team they played was Pakistan, and they also played Bangladesh in T20 Tri Series. But Bangladesh is not a top ranked T20 side anymore. But Pakistan beat them in the Tri Series final. When they came to this World Cup and the way they started against Australia, I think that surprised everybody. I was surprised that day. 200 runs. That is the only time 200 runs have been scored in this tournament. And आप margin देखिए आप 89 runs का margin. आप margin यहाँ पे देखिए श्रीलंका के अगेंस्ट 65 runs का margin. श्रीलंका वो टीम है जो जिसने इंग्लैंड को स्ट्रगल करवा दिया. ठीक है, कंडीशंस डिफरेंट रहे, लेकिन आप मार्जिन देखिए ना, मार्जिन
Yeah.
बहुत बड़ा है. 65 and 89 are huge margins. This is a New Zealand side, 5 बार सेमीफाइनल पहुंच चुके हैं लगातार, 2 बार फाइनल पहुंच चुके हैं.
Yeah.
They could reach a third consecutive ICC white ball tournament final. We've been talking a long time about how this New Zealand side is probably one of the best New Zealand sides ever, especially in white ball, especially in Test cricket, World Test Championship. तो जीत ही चुके हैं. In a way, they have improved from last year. Last year ये लोग फाइनल पहुंचे थे. अब आप ऑस्ट्रेलिया को देखो, ऑस्ट्रेलिया फाइनल पहुंचे, इंप्रूव नहीं कर पाए, they've gone down. Total destruction in their lineup. New Zealand have improved. How have they improved? मार्टिन गप्टिल चले गए तो फिन एलन आ गए. डेवॉन कॉनवे से कोई एक्सपेक्ट नहीं करता था, कितनी जबरदस्त पारी खेली उन्होंने. और ग्लेन फिलिप्स, व्हाट अ प्लेयर. आई मीन, दो प्लेयर, आप इन दोनों प्लेयर का आप स्ट्राइक रेट देखिए. इस टूर्नामेंट में टॉप 10 में एक ही टीम के सिर्फ 2 खिलाड़ी हैं, और वो है न्यूजीलैंड स्ट्राइक रेट में.
Yeah.
इस टूर्नामेंट में एक ही टीम रही है जिसने 5 बॉलर यूज किए हैं, 6 बॉलर यूज ही नहीं किए हैं. आप
Yes.
ऑस्ट्रेलिया देख लो, इंडिया देख लो, पाकिस्तान देख लो, साउथ अफ्रीका देख लो, किसी को भी देख लो, इंग्लैंड देख लो, सबने 6 बॉलर यूज किए हैं, 6 से ज्यादा बॉलर यूज किए हैं. New Zealand has not used more than 5 bowlers. They use the same 5 bowlers. They don't have a 6th bowling option. It tells you how consistent they are. It tells you how calculative they are. It tells you their plans work. सिर्फ और सिर्फ इंग्लैंड के अगेंस्ट नहीं किया, और इंग्लैंड के अगेंस्ट भी मार्जिन देखिए सिर्फ 20 रन का था, ज्यादा बड़ा मार्जिन नहीं है कंपेयर टू से ऑस्ट्रेलिया और श्रीलंका. दिस टीम, it's my favorite to win this World Cup after England, of course. I think these two are very, very strong sides. I would not be surprised if it's an England-New Zealand final, but I obviously want India to reach the final. So I think New Zealand are very strong. Pakistan can be mercurial on their day, but I think New Zealand have it covered.
And let's see that how it pans out after the first semi-final game, who wins that match. But Chetan, when we were discussing about the teams, I remember very, accurately, we talked about the X factor, that, New Zealand is lacking that X factor. And we talked about that at length. Now I'm very, yeah, Chetan, you
No,
were
no,
saying
no.
something.
Yeah. So X Factor की बात हमने टूर्नामेंट से पहले की थी because of the fact that they had a very very ordinary build up. लेकिन अब आप
Yeah,
इस टूर्नामेंट में देखो तो अब वो एक्स फैक्टर वाले प्लेयर्स दिखाई दे रहे हैं ना. फिन एलन हो गए, ग्लेन फिलिप्स हो गए, यू नो मिचेल सैंटनर, ईश सोधी, उन्होंने इतना बड़ा कमाल नहीं किया है. उनके पेसेस देखिए, उन्होंने इतना बड़ा कमाल नहीं किया, बट they've just managed to do enough. So these two players, if they get into the game, Finn Allen एंड ग्लेन फिलिप्स, और इन दोनों ने इसी ग्राउंड पर बड़ी बड़ी पारियां खेली हुई हैं.
yes.
So I think these two, the fact that they are the only two batsmen from the same team in the top strike rates says everything about New Zealand having that X factor now.
Yeah, and on that note, I would like to show who's my X factor, because we have talked at length about it, and obviously it's none other than Glenn Phillips. So I thought that okay, we need to put him here because he is
Yeah.
the X factor for New Zealand. And Chetan, you have already talked about him. How he will be one of the match. He could be one of the match winners for New Zealand in the semi-final game.
See, I think he is very, very crucial because he comes middle order, 4, 5, that's where he bats. And one weakness that New Zealand does have is their top order. अगर आप वहां पे Finn Allen, क्योंकि he is going to play attacking cricket and it always doesn't come off.
Yeah.
Devon Conway again opening, we've seen how bowling conditions sometimes, हालांकि मैं सिडनी में हूँ, पूरी तरीके से धूप निकली हुई है, एक बादल नहीं है आसमान में, but still it just matters, against the new ball it can happen. And Pakistan's pace lineup is a really good pace lineup. So it's a matchup between the top order of New Zealand and Pakistan's bowling attack. If New Zealand lose a lot of wickets, then this guy becomes very, very crucial. And I think Pakistan have one way to win this match. New Zealand's top order, अगर New Zealand का top order अगर they are 30 for 3 or 40 for 4 or 50 for 4, that is the only way Pakistan wins this match.
Absolutely. And now, when we have talked about Pakistan, let's have a look at their journey in the Super 12, because this is one of the most amazing and miraculous journey anybody could even think of. Now, first, let's see the two matches, Chetan, against India and Zimbabwe. And I really can't forget the Zimbabwe match because they needed 3 runs from 3 balls, isn't it?
I came home that day. I was in Sydney, I remember. उस दिन इंडिया का मैच खत्म हुआ था, नेदरलैंड्स का. मैं घर आया, मैंने देखा 129, 130 बनाने हैं. They were 50 for 2. मैंने कहा सो
Hmm.
जाते हैं, सारा दिन काम करने के बाद नहीं देख पाएंगे मैच, एंड सो जाते हैं, जीत जाएगी पाकिस्तान, मतलब देर अ गुड T20 साइड. सुबह उठ के
Yeah.
देखा हार गए. ये कैसे हार गए? एंड आई वाज लाइक, मतलब आप बाबर आजम की आपने जो पिक्चर यूज की है, ये बहुत जबरदस्त पिक्चर यूज की है. उनको खुद विश्वास नहीं हो रहा है वो कैसे पहुंच गए सुपर 12 में. उनको नहीं विश्वास हो रहा है. मतलब इट्स जस्ट बीन अ मैजिकल राइड, मैजिकल गेम अगेंस्ट इंडिया, अ शॉक लॉस अगेंस्ट जिम्बाब्वे, एंड देन दिस इज व्हाट पाकिस्तान क्रिकेट इज. समथिंग ऑलवेज हैपेंस विद देम, कुछ ना कुछ होता ही रहता है. एंड you know, I still can't believe South Africa lost to, Netherlands. लेकिन ये बात जरूर ध्यान में रखनी होगी कि they put themselves in that position. ये बात
True.
जरूर ध्यान में रखनी होगी, साउथ अफ्रीका को हराने की जरूरत थी. एंड आई थिंक इफ देयर वाज वन मैच व्हिच where things clicked for them, it was that particular match. South Africa को हराने की जरूरत थी. They came to the party. They did what was necessary. That is why South Africa at some point got under pressure against Netherlands. लेकिन यहाँ पे एक बहुत बड़ा फैक्टर है. वो फैक्टर ये है, और मैं एक्स फैक्टर नहीं कहूंगा उसे, ये फैक्टर है फील गुड फैक्टर. पाकिस्तान ना, ये बहुत होता है पाकिस्तान के साथ कि समथिंग ऑलवेज हैपेंस एंड ओ माय गॉड, ये पाकिस्तान क्रिकेट है, ये ऐसे ही खेलते हैं हमेशा, दे आर वेरी अनप्रेडिक्टेबल एंड दिस विल हैपन एंड दैट विल हैपन एंड मे बी ये होते होते वर्ल्ड कप जीत जाएंगे. नहीं, लास्ट ईयर क्या हुआ था? they were very consistent. They were very
Right.
consistent. There was no unpredictability last year. It was only and only consistency. और देखिए वो कहाँ ले गई टीम को, वो सेमीफाइनल में ले गई. एक भी मैच नहीं हारे, सीधा सेमीफाइनल में हारे. ठीक
Yeah.
है, और वो भी ऑस्ट्रेलिया से हारे.
Yeah.
um, so this year they have been inconsistent, and I don't think कि जब ये inconsistent होते हैं, 92 की बात और थी, 92
Yeah.
की बात और थी, 92 बार बार रिपीट नहीं होता है. Um, I think it will be tough for them to beat New Zealand, but whenever inconsistency involved, they don't really go that far.
Yeah. And you talked about the factor that's been helping Pakistan so far. But now let's come to the X factor side as well. But Chetan, before I, showcase and present who my X factor is for this semi-final match, Chetan, there have been so many discussions about this X factor person because first Shaheen Shah Afridi was not, in the bang on position. But then again, South Africa and Bangladesh, we saw, okay, Shaheen Shah Afridi is doing well. Then we saw Muhammad Harris also doing really well in games. But on top of that, I find this person can be X factor for Pakistan team. What do you think?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think he has, he's really come forward. अगर आप दो कॉलम हैं यहाँ पे, विकेट्स और स्ट्राइक रेट, आई डोंट थिंक एनीबडी हैज हैड दिस सॉर्ट ऑफ इन्फ्लुएंस. 10
Yeah,
विकेट भी निकाले हैं, स्पिनर हैं, 10 विकेट भी निकाले हैं. और इंडिया के मैच में जहां दूसरा स्पिनर पिट रहा था, नवाज पिट रहे थे, लेकिन इन्होंने कंट्रोल किया था, पिटने नहीं दिया था. 10 विकेट
mm,
निकाले हैं, एंड लुक एट दैट स्ट्राइक रेट, 177. ही इज द ओनली, मैंने अभी बात की थी ना न्यूजीलैंड के लिए कि दो प्लेयर हैं टॉप स्ट्राइक रेट में. ही इज द ओनली प्लेयर इन द टॉप 10 स्ट्राइक रेट फॉर पाकिस्तान, ओनली
yeah,
प्लेयर. विच सेज अ लॉट, क्योंकि आप बाबर आजम पे डिपेंडेंट हैं, आप फकर जमान पे डिपेंडेंट थे, आप इफ्तिकार आलम पे डिपेंडेंट थे, आप रिजवान पे डिपेंडेंट थे, लेकिन नहीं है वो चीज. इन्होंने वो कमाल करके दिखाया है. The only problem with him is they are not giving him a proper batting order, or a batting order. They're not giving him a proper spot. If he's batting so well, use him at number 4, number 5, use him higher up where he can make or influence the match. आप देखिए साउथ अफ्रीका वाले मैच में उन्होंने जबरदस्त पारी खेली, 20 बॉल पे 50 रन मारे उन्होंने, लेकिन क्या हो गया था तब तक, 4-5 विकेट आउट हो गए थे ना. दैट इज नॉट गोइंग टू हैपन एवरी टाइम.
absolutely.
If you
Yeah,
want it to happen every time, give him that opportunity. Or I think पाकिस्तान की बैटिंग लाइनअप बहुत ज्यादा वीक है. आई थिंक वो वीक नहीं कहूंगा, फॉर्म में नहीं है. बाबर आजम और रिजवान, उन्होंने मिलके लास्ट ईयर 600 रन बनाए थे, इस बार 150 भी नहीं हुए हैं अभी
yeah.
मिलके. And I think if New Zealand gets early wickets and they get into the middle order is very unsettled. What are they trying to do? They're trying to rotate the middle order, keeping it fluid. India भी करता था ना लास्ट ईयर तक, बहुत
Yeah.
फ्लूइड मिडिल ऑर्डर. वो
Uh,
काम कब करता है? वो काम करता है अगर आपका टॉप ऑर्डर सॉलिड हो, आपके टॉप ऑर्डर ने स्टार्ट दे दी हो. वो काम नहीं करता है अगर आपका टॉप ऑर्डर इनकंसिस्टेंट है. एंड आई थिंक बैटिंग इनकंसिस्टेंसीज विल कॉस्ट देम अगेंस्ट न्यूजीलैंड.
okay, so are you saying that New Zealand has an upper hand in the semi-final match?
डेफिनेटली अगर सेकंड सेमीफाइनल से कंपेयर करें, इंडिया इंग्लैंड, probably it's a 55-45 thing in England's favor, but I think यहाँ पर I would say it's easily 60-40 in New Zealand's favor, if not 70-30.
Yeah, but well, Chetan, fans are saying that it should be India versus Pakistan final match. If that happens, how will that match be? What are you expecting out of that match if that
I
happens?
was speaking, I was doing commentary for ABC, and the other day India Zimbabwe में, और वहाँ पे रवि बोपारा थे हमारे साथ commentary में, and he was like, if it happens, and I want to quote him here because जो उनका statement है वो बहुत ही I think it is a reasonable statement. He said there'll be 180,000 people, 90,000 or 100,000 will be inside the stadium, the rest 80-90,000 will be outside the stadium. So इट इज गोइंग टू बी, देखिए इंडिया पाकिस्तान का जो ड्रीम फाइनल है, थैंक्स टू नेदरलैंड्स फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल फॉर कीपिंग दैट ड्रीम अलाइव.
Yeah,
It is a dream final, and I've already covered one India Pakistan match here. It is going मतलब उसका अगर repeat हो जाएगा, so it's a dream final. It's going to be absolutely crazy, and
yeah,
that is an understatement. Absolutely crazy is an understatement. We all want it to happen. Logically, I don't see it happening, but you know, who knows? I mean, cricketing gods might just grant us this wish. All TRPs, all digital media viewer numbers, social media numbers, everything, every record in the books will be broken. if it is an India-Pakistan final. आप क्या कहोगे? Do you think it will be an India-Pakistan final?
Well, I'm expecting that it should be, because that's what all we are expecting. But
Hmm.
we can't leave these teams like New Zealand and England at the
Hmm.
sides. They have
Hmm.
been really great, and obviously they are also here to win the T20 World Cup. It's not going to be India versus Pakistan only coming here. But yes, it'll be actually, the picture will be clear on 9th of November. That's tomorrow. If Pakistan wins, then definitely it's going to be Pakistan versus India. But let's see what
Nahi,
happens.
it could be India New Zealand also. You never
Yeah.
you never know. I personally think it's going to be an India New Zealand final.
Yeah. Well, I also had the same thoughts, but these fans on social media have fed us with so many informations, with so many
Hmm.
things, that now it's like everybody's rooting for India-Pakistan match. But let's see what happens. We'll first have to wait for tomorrow's match, because that's also going to be a very cracker of game, New Zealand versus Pakistan. And then definitely India versus England. It's going to be a cracker game again. So,
Yes, and
Chetan,
as
yeah.
always, all updates on Cricketnext. I'll be obviously just 3 matches remaining, but bringing you all the updates on Cricketnext, social media, Instagram, Twitter, and on YouTube, as always.
Yeah, thank you so much, Chetan, for joining with me on this
Absolute,
insightful discussion.
absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much. So, guys, we were with Chetan Narula, and he has been with us constantly for all those matches that happened in the Super 12 stage. And he was here discussing the semi final stage as well. And he will be there with us till the finals. So, stay tuned with us, because Cricket Next will bring you all the updates from Australia and some interesting conversations as well. On that note, thank you so much for joining with me. Stay tuned for our live coverages and other videos on Cricket Next YouTube channel, or you can also connect with us on our various social media handles. That's Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Till then, enjoy T20 World Cup semi-final matches, and we will get back to you when the matches take their pace on. Thank you.
The World 2020 Champions.